Good to be here. How's everyone? How's everyone? All right, all right. We are always grateful to be here. And as I've told you a time or two before, it's just great to be anywhere. That means you're alive. And so we are thankful to be alive today, and we give God praise for that. Is this the Pope family? All right, okay, we'll see you all right after we finish here. We want to express our condolences in the loss, and so we will get together when I'm done here, all right? Okay, all right. And Lisa. That's all I'll say, Lisa. All right. Come on, let's go to work. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. I like messing with people, especially like Lisa. Yeah, I know. Yeah, mess with her here a little bit. We're gonna go to Galatians chapter 5:13. Is it up for us? We're going to be looking to the NIV for just a few verses, and then we're going to get right into something that I feel is important and really relevant for where we are now in learning so many new and different things. Galatians chapter 5:13, and later on in the message we will get Luke 6, but we're not going to get that until later. But you said it's up for you. It's one verse. You got it? NIV. Let's read together. You, my brothers, will call to be what? Free. And do not use your freedom to indulge the sinful nature. Rather serve one another in love. Serve one another in love. And I know some have different translations, but I wanted you to hear that out of the NIV. You, my brothers, were called to be free. And of course, you all here at Zoe Ministries know when we read the scripture, when we look at man, we look at brothers and everything that's so male dominant, we know that the better translation is humanity, right? It's talking to our sisters as well. So you were called to be free. Called to be free. But do not use your freedom to indulge in sinful nature. Rather serve one another in love. And Dr. Luke has been on it talking about love all this morning. So we want to be seated in the presence of the Most High. And we're taking... our title today is coming with the question, what are you standing on? Ask your neighbor, what are you standing on? What are you standing on? The Declaration of Independence was declared July the 4th, 1776. In this country, we know that. This declared independence from Great Britain, I should say, from Great Britain, was a disapproval of the government system to which they belong. The people that set up government here was in revolt and disapproving of the government that they were a part of in Great Britain. To declare independence means to experience conversion along with being revolutionary and radical. To declare independence means to experience conversion along with being revolutionary in your thinking, and radical. Scripture says, we just read, don't use your freedom to indulge in worldly living. We're free, but we don't want to use our freedom. I like what the Apostle Paul said. He said, all things are lawful, but all things are not beneficial. I can do whatever I want to do. We can leave out here right now and do whatever we want to do. But the question is it beneficial? Whatever I have made up my mind to do. And so I can do what I want to do, but I need to know that we are governed by laws, and we're governed by universal law and spiritual laws that's been set in place by the Creator. And so there are certain things that we are not to indulge in for our own benefit. So some of us are glad to be delivered. People come, get to a place in their life, and they get set free from drugs, alcohol, and many other things. And some of us are glad to be delivered from that, and we're glad to be delivered from the oppressor, things that have been oppressing us, people that have been oppressing us. But we don't want deliverance from the oppression. In other words, I don't want you to tell me what to do, but I'm not going to do the things that I know are right for me to do. I may get rid of some things, but some things I want to hold on to. Are y'all there? So we don't want deliverance from the oppression. In other words, when we read in the scripture, we see that there were a group of people there that wanted to leave. They were happy to leave out of the bondage they were in. But when they got out of that bondage, then they started looking back to the place where they were delivered from, thinking about the food. They weren't thinking about the treatment. They weren't thinking about any of those things. They were thinking about how good the food was in the bondage they were in. Isn't it interesting, once we get delivered, we still want to hold on to things that had a lot to do with the situation that we were in. But it's just some things we don't want to get rid of. And we got to be really honest. It's just got to be real about it. You know my testimony when I gave my life back to the Lord, when I came in the church, back into the church after leaving the life that I was living. I came back and I made up my mind that, I'll get rid of everything, but I got to hold on to my weed. You know what I'm talking about. There's just some things that we don't see. Some things we don't see anything wrong with, and we justify it because it's what we want to do. Are y'all there? See, you can justify anything that you still want to do and make it feel all right. Even if you read something in the scripture about it, you say, well, I don't see it that way. Why? Because that's what you want to do. And when we're honest about what we want to do, then we can really get some help, because we know some of the things that we're doing are incorrect, but it feels good. I like doing this, and we got to be real with ourselves, because that's what I had to tell the Lord. I said, you know what? I know I really don't need to be smoking this, but the only way I'm going to stop smoking it, you're going to have to help me, because I like doing what I'm doing. Are y'all there? See, you just got to be real about it. See, there's help available, but you got to be real. You can't be faking and phony and tripping. You just got to put it on the table. How many of you know the Most High know what you're doing anyway? So you ain't hiding nothing from nobody. So you might as well go head on and be honest about it, and not so much being honest about it with the Most High, but being honest with yourself. Don't be a hypocrite. Just say what it is. I did what I did because I wanted to do what I did, and I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing until I get tired or something happens and takes it away from me, because I like what I'm doing, and I know what I'm doing ain't right, but I'm not going to stop it because I like it. We got to be real around here, because you were busted when you first started, because the Most High saw you. So some of us, we're glad to be delivered from the oppressor, but we don't want deliverance from the oppression. We're excited to be delivered from some things, but we choose to hold on to the things that we still like. We need a conversion of the soul. See, that's the issue what we're having. We need a conversion of the soul. The hardest thing to do with humanity is to convert the soul and help people to understand that their soul needs to be converted. Have you ever met somebody and you what they were doing you know was incorrect? And because you cared about them, you attempted to say something to them so they would change that or stop that. And they looked at you like you were crazy because they didn't see anything wrong with what they were doing. Are y'all there? And so they don't see the need. It's hard. It's hard to get people to see the need that you need to check yourself. We so accustomed to checking everybody else. We want to point the finger at everybody else, but we don't spend enough time checking ourselves. We don't spend enough time looking at ourselves in the mirror and really being honest with ourselves and telling ourselves, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, we need to do something about this because this is incorrect. But it's amazing when somebody that loves you and cares about you come and say something to you, how you can immediately dismiss it and say, you don't know what you're talking about. And so conversion is something that people must experience in order to make transformations in life to doing things that are correct. And we're not here to judge who's doing right and who's doing wrong, because I'm a firm believer that everybody that's not doing things that's correct already knows they're not doing things that's correct. And so you don't need to browbeat people and say this is wrong and that's wrong and that wrong. We already know we're wrong. We know we were wrong when we walked into the door. We knew there were some things that wasn't right when we walked into the door. So I don't need you to remind me of what's wrong, but I do need to hear something that can help me deal with myself and challenge myself to make some changes so I can get into the things that's right and beneficial for my life. Are y'all still with me? So we need a conversion of the soul. Soul meaning the mind, the will, and our emotions. There's got to be a conversion. A conversion it comes from, this word conversion is out of a Greek word, epistrophe. Epistrophe. E-P-I-S-T-R-O-P-H-E. And it means it is a revision or a reversion and revolution. A conversion is a reversion or a revolution. When you talk about revolution, you're usually thinking about war. You're usually thinking about takeover. You're usually thinking in these terms when you hear the word revolution, and especially when you hear it paired with radical. You're talking about, when we're talking about a conversion of the soul, we're talking about a radical, revolutionary, a reversion, a change that's not going to be easy. In other words, when we talk about revolution and being radical, we're talking about change that's not going to be easy. And so reversion is a return to a previous state. Now listen to this. Reversion is a return to a previous state, a previous practice or a belief. It's not nothing new, but it's something that was once practiced that we have totally gotten away from, and we are following something that we were not really accustomed to. And many people have now gotten locked in, most people I can say, have gotten locked into a way that is not the way that we were brought up. It was not the way that we were ordained to function. It was not the way that we were to develop in life, and we have gotten locked into something that does not properly describe who we are. This is why the scripture said men have sinned and women have sinned and falling short of the glory. Well, how do you fall short of glory? Glory means the appearance. Glory means the way a thing looks. And when you fall short of glory, it simply means you have fallen short of who you really are. You are not really operating in the image and likeness of that which you were created to be. And so we have fallen short of that, and we have taken on something else because other people has created us after their image. Other people have put things in the way to cause us to think something is right when it's wrong. They cause us to look at something that's not good, and we call it good. It's not good, but we call it good because we've been accustomed to what other people have given us, and we riding on what other people have said, what other people have handed us, and we riding on that, believing that is the right thing, and we could be completely, totally wrong. So reversion is a return to a previous state. Something that you were practicing, something that you were believing once before. It's a practice. It's a belief. Revolution is the bringing out or constituting a great or radical change. A revolution, a radical change. Radical means of or from the root or roots, going to the foundation or source of something. And so when we're talking about being a radical revolutionary, we're talking about not only change, but we're talking about getting to the root of the problem. What is the root cause of why I am where I am today? What is the root cause of why I do what I do today? What is the root cause for my thinking and my belief and my practices? Where did I get that from? Where did it come from? How did it evolve in my life? How did I get this belief? How did I look at things the way I look at them now, based on how when you read and study history, how I should be looking at it? How did I get here? That's the question. How did I get here? What am I believing? Let's go to Luke chapter 6. Revolution, the bringing out, or constituting a great or radical change. How many of you know the person in the scripture that we call Jesus? I wrote it in one of my books. Jesus, the radical revolutionary. You know, anytime you want change in your life, and anytime you want change in a group, somebody's got to be radical enough to bring the change. And radical is just not being wild and crazy. Remember the definition. It is getting to the root of the problem. See, that's why you don't never need to go after anything until you understand it. You never need to try to fix something that you don't understand. If you don't get to the root of the problem, then you never can fix it. That's why people walk around today in such bondage and addicted to certain things, because they haven't gotten to the root of the problem. What is the root of the problem of a person that's addicted and not living their life according to how they should be living it? The root problem is they don't know who they are. Because when I know who I am, it keeps me from who I'm not. You don't have to tell me not to do certain things when I know who I am. When I know who I am, the fact that I know who I am tells me that that's not me. So if someone is doing something that don't identify with me, I know immediately that I don't need to be around that. I don't need to be connected to that. Why? Because it's not me. I don't need God to come out of heaven. I don't need no preacher. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do or how to do it. I just need to know who I am. And when I know who I am, then I'm going to gravitate to things that's going to be beneficial to the person that I am. If that's not beneficial for who I am, you don't have to tell me don't go around it. I just won't be around it. Why? Because it's not me. I'm not attracted to that which is not me. And so you don't have to tell me this is wrong and that's wrong. Just it don't benefit my life because that's not me. The problem with people is that they don't know who they are. Because when you know who you are, it keeps you from who you are not. Luke chapter 6, verse 46. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, or Yeshua, Yeshua, and do not do what I say? You know how many people are calling upon the Lord today? As soon as they walk out of the door, they're going to do what they want to do. They're just going to do it. I mean, you have to applaud them because at least they came into the house. You know, some folk won't even come into the house. But they'll leave right out of the door and do what they want to do, because people are not understanding, first of all, who they are, and understanding that we are governed by universal law and spiritual law. This is what keeps our lives moving in the direction that it should be moving in. It don't remove us from problems. It don't remove us from the events that and circumstances that will happen in our lives. But there is a law that we are to live by. Let's look at it. Why call me Lord, Lord, and do not what I say? I will show you what he is like who comes to me and hears my words and puts them into practice. He is like a man building a house who dug down deep. Everybody say deep. You got to dig deep. You got to dig deep. And when we're talking about digging, we're talking about digging deep within our lives. Dug deep, down deep, and laid the foundation on a rock. This is why the message is entitled, What Are You Standing On? And laid the foundation on a rock. And when a flood came, the torrent struck that house, but could not shake it, because it was well built. But the one who hears my words and does not put them into practice is like a man who built a house on the ground without a foundation. The moment the torrent or the storm struck that house, it collapsed and its destruction was complete. Now, check out the text. What's happening here? We got two men. We got two people building a house. We got two people building a house. But now, what is the problem here? The wind is coming. The storm is coming. There's going to be a mighty torrent. It's coming. So it is not protecting the one from the storm who has his house on the rock, on a solid foundation. See, the storm is coming to both places. The storm is coming to the house that's built correctly, and the storm is coming to the house that's not built correctly. Both people are going to experience the same storm. But what is the difference? The difference is that the one who had the house built on a rock, on a solid foundation, the storm wasn't able to move it. When storms of life come to you, when different things hit you, when you don't know what's going on, when you don't know what's up, you don't know what's going down, you don't know how long you're going to have to deal with certain situations. When storms hit you, you know how you wake up in the morning, yesterday everything was fine, and now today look like every demon in hell has visited your house and come to you. When you wake up like that, you got to realize that's a storm that's come to your life. And so we're not going to be exempt from the storm just because we have a solid foundation. We're not going to be exempt from the storm, but we'll be able to get through the storm if our foundation is solid like it ought to be. And so we got to understand the importance of rebuilding foundations in our life. I need a rebuilding of a foundation in my life because many people don't even know what they're standing on. And if I'm not standing correctly on the right foundation, whatever storm comes is going to shake me. It's going to have me shaky and unstable, emotionally unstable, mentally unstable, psychologically unstable, spiritually unstable, because I'm standing on something that can give me the stability that I need to get through the storms that come to my life. So I need a foundation. I need a foundation. And when we talk about radical, remember, it's talking about going to the foundation or the source of something. I like something else that Yeshua said in Scripture. He told the people that in John chapter 4, when he met the woman at the well, she said, well, we worship in the mountain or whatever she was saying. And he said, you all worship what you do not know. Do you know so many people worship what they do not know? We don't even know what we worship. We don't know why we worship. We don't know why it's important to have a collective consciousness concerning the Most High. We don't understand things. We're just going through the motions. If people that are here today would be honest, you'd have to be honest and say, you know what? I am going through the motion. I'm going through what was handed to me. Somebody gave me this and told me this was the right way to go, and I started doing it. And if I take a real honest look, I got some positive changes may have happened in my life, but I'm not where I really should be because the foundation that I'm standing on is not solid like it should be. The truth that they gave me is not the truth that I should be standing on. So I'm standing on a shaky ground, hoping that things will work out, but I don't have the mindset to go investigate what I'm standing on until it collapses, and then I wonder why I didn't check. You cannot take preacher's words. You cannot take the bishop, the elder, the pastor's word. You better walk out of the door and check things out for yourself. Your soul salvation is at stake. You never leave your life in the hands of another man. That's your soul. That's your life. And if you're not checking things and researching and looking, you ain't going to have nobody to blame but you. You stand before the Most High one day and he said, why you didn't do this? Well, nobody told me. That's going to sound real stupid, ain't it? In this information age, all you got to do is just punch in anything you want to on Google and it'll come up. So you really don't have no excuse now. So you say, I don't have a library card. You don't need one. Just go to the library and get on the internet at the library. In other words, there's too much information out there that we don't have because we're not diligent in doing something for our own soul. We're taking what somebody tells us, like the preacher on Sunday, and we're walking out of the door, say, well, the preacher said that, and so you're running with that. But I tell this church all the time, what if the preacher is going to be lost? What are you doing for your own soul? What foundation are you standing on? And what are you building upon the foundation that you have? If the foundation is not right, whatever you're building upon it is going to collapse. And then we want to blame God. We want to blame the Most High. When things happen in our life, we can't blame nobody. We got to look at ourselves. We got to pull up our own self. We got to get ourselves together. We got to realize that I got everything I need to work with. I just got to go research. I got to dig it out. I got to find out how to use what I already got, because we already have all the tools we need. But do you know how to use them? Do you know how to make yourself move from here to there? Do you know how to prosper in your own soul? Do you know how to touch the things that's needed to bring healing to your body, healing to the family, healing to everything that you need to have healed in your life? Do you know how to use the tools that's been given to you to use? Without the knowledge of using the tools, you still are at a deficit. See, this ain't no game. This is life. And life ain't waiting on you to bump up against things. You got to go dig. That's why I wanted you to look at this scripture. It takes deep digging to lay a proper foundation. I got to dig past the things that I thought I knew. See, all that stuff you thought you knew, now I got to go deeper. I got to dig deeper, because I must realize that what other people handed me is not necessarily the truth. You have to understand. And you got to stop relying on other people, because it is your soul. So you look at the TV preacher. Is he telling you the truth? You look at me. Am I telling you the truth? How will you know that? Huh? How will you know that? How will you know if what I'm saying to you is true? The only way you're going to know it, if you see me living, you'll see me walking it out. But besides that, the other way you're going to know it is by finding out that what he said, I just researched, and it's right. Are y'all there? We got to stop crippling the church. I don't need you depending on me. I need you depending on the Most High and you to do what's right by you, to do what's right by your soul, to do what's right by your family, to do what's right by your marriage, to do what's right by your finances, to do what's right by your health. You and you alone must make it happen. Can't nobody make this happen for you. What has your life been built upon? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? What have your life been built upon? I'm going to say it again. If you're real honest, somebody handed you something. They handed it to you and said, this is it. Now, what my parents or grandparents may have handed me, they handed me what they knew and the best that they had for the time. So I'm not putting down our ancestors, because they did the best they could. I don't put down the Baptist church, because I'm an old Baptist boy myself. we just learned a few other things and we moved a little bit further, but we don't put that which which gave us a foundation down. We don't put that down, but we build upon that foundation. Is that right? But then when you find out that the foundation that was given to you, people did the best that they could, but the foundation was still incorrect. So now I got to dig up. I got to go beyond. I got to break up that foundation. I got to break it up. I got to go a little bit deeper because I can't build on the foundation that I was given. I got to go deeper than that foundation and pull up the truth so I can walk the way I'm supposed to walk, so I can understand what I'm supposed to understand, so I can live the way I'm supposed to live, so I can have my temple like I'm supposed to have my temple, so I can do the things that I was supposed to do from the onset. We have to realize that some people in our lives that loved us, they gave us what they had. The preacher 50 years ago gave us what he had. Many of us couldn't go to school. I recommend it, but a lot of us couldn't go. So we just gave what we have. But in this age that we're living in, we no longer need to be ignorant every day concerning one of the most important things in our life, one of the most important aspects of our life, and that's our spirituality and who we are. Who are you? When you ask people that question, they start telling you what they do, their name, and everything else. But who are you? See, that's the question. See, first of all, you know you cannot be your mind because you're able to look. You can't be your thoughts because you're able to analyze your thoughts. Right? So you cannot be your thoughts. You cannot be your body because you can look in the mirror and observe your body. Who's doing the observing? Are y'all there? You cannot be your emotions because you can analyze and you can examine how you feel. So when you figure out who's observing the thoughts, when you figure out who is observing the body, when you figure out who is examining the feelings, the emotions, then you'll know who you are. As a matter of fact, the world calls who you are the observer. There is the real you that cannot be seen, checking out and checking on all these things. And so some people believe they are what they do. And so they equate who they are based on what they do, their job description. But I'm greater than a job description. I'm greater than the thoughts that come into my mind, because some thoughts that come into my mind, I got to hurry up and kick them out because they ain't right. I'm greater than what I feel because I have the ability to change my feelings. Are y'all still there? And so I've got to get this part of my life straight. Who am I? And when I understand who I am, when I understand that I am divinity, when I understand that I am partakers of the same divinity of the Most High, when I understand that I have the ability to co-create just like the Creator creates, when I understand who I am, then I will do what's necessary to get rid of the foundation that other people gave me and now build a foundation that's going to take me where I need to go and where I want to be. I got to stop taking handouts. Stop taking handouts and go get it for yourself. What have you built your life upon? What have you built upon? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. What have you built on? What are you standing on? And as I said, if the foundation is wrong, everything placed upon it will be shaky and unstable. So if you could see some people in church walking in the Spirit, their walk would probably be something like this. There's no stability. That's why we go in and out and in and out. Because we stable one day, and then the next day we don't know what's going on. We're stable one day, and then our emotions and our mind tell us, you're lonely. You need this. You need that. See, who's running my life? Are my thoughts running my life? My body running my life? My emotions running my life? Or am I running my life? I have to know that. I need to know that I can do whatever I want to do. I can do that. But when I think I'm a victim of circumstances, then I allow outside forces to control who I am. Because nobody in here is a victim of anything unless you think you are. And as a man or woman thinks in their heart, so they are. So if you think you're a victim, you are a victim. If you think you're a loser, you are a loser. Whatever you think you are, you're right. There's no question about it. Whatever you think you are absolutely right. And you think wrongly about yourself many times because yourself is on a shaky foundation. And so if you got yourself on a shaky foundation, that means your thoughts are shaky. That means you're double-minded. You think one way today, you think another way tomorrow. You're shaky. You're unstable in your thinking. And so new foundation must be laid. In most people's lives, that's in church. Because what we're standing on ain't working. See, people, preachers like to let you know that, what I'm telling you is right and it's going to work. But I keep challenging this with this one. I challenge you with this one. If it was right, like it ought to be, if it is stable as it should be, come on now. Why ain't some things working? See, you got to take an honest look at what you're doing and what you believe, what you practice. See, you have to. In order to get on the right place, the right foundation, then I can build. So even if you're trying to build righteous and great things on the shaky foundation, it's going to collapse. So I need to know, what do I believe? Where did I get my belief from? Why do I practice this? Where did this come from? You have to answer those questions for yourself. No one can do that. And take an honest look. See, don't get mad. Don't get mad with God. Don't get mad with the Most High. Don't get mad when things don't happen the way you think they ought to happen in your life. You have a right to expect good things to happen. But don't get mad when you may be on shaky and unstable foundation. Don't get mad because you may be believing something that ain't real, because you haven't taken out the time to investigate what is real. So don't get mad with anybody. Just get mad enough to go do some research. See, that's who you need to be mad at. You need to be mad at yourselves. And let me go find out what's, because something ain't right here. I've been telling this church for a long time, something ain't right, y'all. Something ain't right. Something ain't right for everybody else that don't go to church to have everything else in life going good for them. Ain't something wrong with that? Come on now. You are children of the Most High. You serve the Creator that created everything. And you're in here paying tithes and giving offerings and doing the best job you know how to do. But something still ain't working right in your life. What could that be? unstable foundation, I think I had the truth. And I'm walking in all that I know. I can't deviate from what I know because somebody told me it was right. See, it's time for you to stand up and declare your declaration of independence and fix your life. See, I brought that little spot out. I was going to say something, but I didn't want to be too negative about America. And that wasn't my goal. I could say some things, but I'm not. But my point is that they had to get radical and take up arms, and they had to do some things in order to gain their declaration. In other words, they declared their independence. We declaring it. You better declare some things in your life. And you need to know when you make those kind of declarations that it's going to come with a price. It's got to be a revolution. It's got to be a radical change starting with you. I got to do some radical changing. I got to be a radical thinker. I got to be a revolutionary in my thinking. I have to know who I am and not allow other people to draw me in to who I am not. Even if it don't appear to be a bad thing, but it's still not me. And I have to understand that. Let me finish this. When we say we are standing on the word of truth, whose word? Whose truth? When we say we are standing on wrong foundations concerning these things, whose truth are we standing on? I'm gonna give you a real simple one right now. Many of us are standing on the truth of what people told us about what we eat. Yeah. We're standing on wrong foundations that people gave us concerning what we put in our mouth. And as a result of that, we're the sickest people in the world. Come on, think. Think with me for a minute. Don't think about the pork chop. Think with me right now. And so, based on what we've been taught, the foundation of nutrition that we've been given, we are on 4 or 5 medications. We're sick. High blood pressure, diabetes. You name it, we got it. Why? Somebody said, here's the nutrition guide. You eat this much dairy. You eat this much lean red meat. And so we follow what they get. Here's the script for you to eat. And what we don't know, especially among African American people, what we don't know is that Caucasians are 75% carbohydrate tolerant. See, they can eat a couple of slices of pizza and they have enough within them to deal with 75% of those carbs. You only have 25% tolerance. Are y'all hearing me? So the same pizza that another man can digest, you can't. It gets stored in other places, and you keep eating like that, then you end up with sugar diabetes. You can't even eat what other people eat. But somebody gave you a script. Say, here, this much of this and this much of that, and if you do this, you'll be healthy. And then when the flu season comes, you got to go get a flu shot. That's causing our children all kind of issues. But the doctor gave you a script. We don't want to listen to the script of Elder Anderson because his script is too different from the script that I've been reading and going by. So don't tell me about nutrition and I can't eat bacon in the morning and I can't eat this and I can't eat. Don't tell me that, because I've been following the script. If it was good enough for my mama, it was good enough for me. And we keep talking that ignorant talk, and we're dying and dying and dying. See, folk ain't got to do nothing for us, but just give us the food. We'll kill our own self at the table with our own fork. That's the script they gave us. We're standing on wrong foundation concerning that. We're standing on the wrong foundation concerning our divinity, as I said earlier, and who we are, and our consciousness and our awareness of our divinity and the connection to that divinity. We're standing on the wrong foundation concerning the word. Standing on the wrong foundation. We got some truth, as we've been studying, as we know, that's been mixed with some other things. All the letters in the New Testament, except for the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those letters were written to people of Greek and Roman descent. They weren't even written to you. I ain't going to get too deep with that. I'm going to leave that right there. They weren't even written to you. Come on now. You mean there couldn't have been a couple of epistles written to Africans? They all had to be written to Greek and Romans? Now, if it's something in there you can benefit from, by all means benefit from it, but you need to know that those letters weren't written to you. I don't know if they like the truth or not. See, these are things that you need to know for yourself. So where can I go get something that's beneficial for me? Okay. We are basically standing on what others gave us. And we stand on it without questioning it. Here's a new rule for you. I hope you apply it. Question everything. Question everything. And as you learn, don't be too quick to share, because remember that the foundations that we are building, that we have been built for our lives, that somebody gave us, how many years are we talking about? Since 325 AD, 1,690 years, we've been dealing with foundations that are shaky and unstable. So get what you need to get, but know that many people that you try to give it to don't want it, because they have been too indoctrinated in what they have been handed. Are y'all hearing me? So I want you to understand, you got to find out who you are and walk in it. I'm divinity. If divinity lives in you, which divinity does, that makes you divinity. You are partakers. Peter said you were partakers of divinity. If you are created in the image, listen to this. If you are created in the image and likeness of God, the image and likeness, you're created in the image and likeness of the Most High. You got to understand that there's no difference. If I'm created in the image and the likeness of God, the Most High, then there is no difference in me and the one who created me. Because the Creator wanted me to be just like the Creator. This is why Yeshua said in the scripture that he counted it not robbery to be equal with the Father. Why did he say that? Because the Father wants you and I to know that we understand that the Father is greater, no question. But the Father said, I want you to share in my greatness. Therefore, we speak of atonement at one ment. I and my Father are, that's us. We got to know that. This is what the Father says. I want you to be, you're my sons and daughters. I want y'all to be just like me. You know, every father wants his son, right, to be like them. Am I right? That's why before he can hardly walk, you're trying to have him in sports, and, you know, you're roughhousing in the house, and, you know, you don't want to raise no chump. You know, you want him to, you know, toughen up, be a man. You know, that's where we get all that. Men don't cry, and they do, but that's what we teach, because we in our own way, we're trying to make them tough. Am I right? And a woman, a real woman, a lady, teaches her daughter how to be a woman and a lady. Right? Because you want them to be the best they can be. That's the same way our Father thinks of us. So I have to walk out the door today and know that if I'm created in the image and likeness of my Father, then I am my Father. If I'm created in the image and likeness of God, I heard somebody say when they was little trying to understand that scripture, if I'm created in the image and likeness of God, I must be God. I must be the little G-O-D that's been placed here to do what? To dominate, not be dominated. Know who you are and walk like it. Some folk need to change the way they walk. I tell you that all the time, don't I? You got to change the way you walk. You know, get some pep in your step. You know, pull your shoulders back. You know, don't get rid of your swag. You were born with that. You know, no matter what you think about the president kept his swag. You know, I mean, he wasn't, you know, he didn't have no problem saying, you know, one of them times when they had him somewhere, you know, he didn't have no problem singing a few bars of Al Green. See, enjoy who you are and know who you are. If you're funny, keep on being funny. Because the Most High is spirit, and spirit can only find expression through a vessel. You're the vessel. When you leave out of here, you represent the Most High. When people see you, just like Yeshua said, when you see me, who you see? See, you can't say that if you're living like an animal. But if you're working on living a decent life, you can tell people, you're looking for God, you just found him. You want to know some things about God, or you want to know some things about the Creator? Sit down, let me talk to you a little bit. You see what I'm saying? You know who you are. Work on it. You know, some of us got to do some mad shifting. Get some things straight. But you got to know. Read the word. Understand, if I'm created in the image and likeness of God, then I must be God. That makes sense to you? I didn't lose nobody? Come on, let's give the Most High some hands, man.